Right, good day all. So moving on to Surah 72, Surah al-Jinn, right? And before we go into this chapter, I just want to make a point and make it abundantly clear, right? That I do not subscribe to being used to teach a lesson regarding prophet and prophet wives, meaning the actual belief in that system. I do not support, nor do I subscribe to clicks unscribe button 2 being used as an example for any reason or purpose to teach the belief system of prophet and prophet wives, right? Because as you all know, and I've stated this abundantly clear, I don't subscribe to that system of belief, right? I like the Quran. I enjoy teachings of the Quran. I teach teachings from the Quran, but that is one of the things or the practices that I do not subscribe to. However, I have no problem, right? And I have no hatred, zero hatred whatsoever. I mean, zero hatred or ill will towards anybody who, male and his wives, right, choose to, if they choose to, and agree to and subscribe to that belief system and practice, right? I have zero hatred for that. However, it is not a practice that I personally would like to implement into my life, right? So when you have a when you are using, if persons or entities out there are trying to use, for example, my family and I, right, to teach certain things. For example, let me just make it clear. I am my father's daughter, right? My mother is the person he got married to. I am my father's daughter. My father's sister is his sister, right? My mother is his wife. I am his daughter. My father's sisters are his sisters, right? We are not wives of prophet, right? We don't subscribe to that, right? We are not wives of any prophet. And I unsubscribe, and we unsubscribe from being used to teach anything of the sort, right? Of one, promoting that incest between family, idea of incest between family members, and two, the promotion of prophet wives, because it's not something that is, I am disassociating myself with that practice, right? Good. So right, so be guided and stay on the right course and believe in it, and never associate God or Allah with anyone, right? Exalted is the nobleness of God, right? So you do not know whether evil is intended for those on earth, right? So certain things people may say, right? Certain things people may say on the world stage and so on, and we might not know if there are actual spiritual forces that are behind the things that people say, right? So it is left for time for these things to be discovered through time. Hey, with this person, if somebody said something that on a stage, whether it's politics or behind the scenes in politics, somebody says something, right? And we do not like it, right? We do not like it. We do not like the direction in which that person said something to take the world in, right? Remember that there are always forces operating also in the things that we say, and that is why I keep advocating for this concept of consciousness, right? Being conscious, right? So it's something that I have been learning to practice as well, meaning self-management, so you don't blurt out things, right, that you do not necessarily mean, or that you allow forces behind the scene to be operating, and you say certain things and put certain things out there, right? Put certain things out there. For example, wanting to vaccinate the whole world and these kind of things, right? We do not know, because people would have said these things, right? So it's for that person or those people to come out and say, hey, was that really me who said that? Or was there some operating force in the background that propelled me to see something like that, right? So moving on. So amongst us are the righteous, and amongst us are not, right? We are of divided ways. So there is something like right and wrong. So this goes to say that for people who say, oh, there's nothing like right and wrong, these things are all ideas and all concepts, why you don't just go and pick up yourself and just, if this thing doesn't matter and there's nothing like right and wrong, you just do anything you want to do, right? You just pick up yourself and do anything you want to do. If you think there's no consequences, or right and wrong is just ideas, right? If you are amongst those who think right and wrong is just ideas, you just pick up yourself and do anything, right? So right and wrong are not simply ideas. Right and wrong are concepts that lead to action, right? Right and wrong are not just ideas. It is concepts and principles that actually lead to action, right? So stop teaching people and children these wrong things that, hey, there's nothing like right and wrong. These things are just, hey, it's just this, it's just that. It's not simply energy, because remember, we are living in a material concrete world, right? Yes, everything dissolves back into energy or transfers into another form. Yes, we understand that, but we are living in a material 3D physical reality, right? Good. So amongst us are the righteous and amongst us are not, right? And we are of, in this way, we are of divided ways and belief systems and principles and so on, right? um, you cannot escape Allah by flight, right? So those of you who think you can do wrong for the whole year, and then because you have money to emigrate, to go to Hajj or to go to India, Ganges, or to go to Jerusalem, wherever, right? You think you can do wrong things throughout the year, but you have the finances to make this pilgrimage, right? It doesn't absolve you, right? You are not absolved from your wrongdoings, and you cannot escape Allah by taking a flight once a year to go to these places, or once in your life to go to these places, right? And think that you're going to wash away your sins, or think that you can be absolved from anything that you've been doing that was wrong, right? Right. So continue to seek out the right course of action, right? And do not invoke with Allah anything or anyone, right? You as a messenger, prophet, and so on, do not have the power, right, to harm anyone, right? You do not have the power to harm anyone, nor do you have the power to force anyone into a right path, right? The most you can do is put the information out there, right? Meaning as a form of notification, right? And that's the duty of a messenger, right? To put the information out there, and whoever takes it, whoever doesn't, and allow people to experience consequences of their own actions, right? It is not within a messenger, prophet, or so on, it is not within their power, right, to one, benefit anybody or to harm anybody directly or indirectly. It is for the creator and the universe to arrange that, right? To arrange that. The most people can do is to, you practice a certain way of life, convey the information out there. Whoever wants to adopt it, they adopt it. Whoever doesn't, they just don't, right? So that's just the most you can do, right? You have only notification from Allah and his messages, right? Allah is in know of the unseen, right? And he can choose whom he will to disclose all or parts of this knowledge too, right? I'll say part, because really all of us only have part of the picture, right? So those who would have came before the Prophet Muhammad, who's referred to as the final prophet, right? They would have conveyed the messages successfully, right? So this is Surah 72, and we will be moving on to 73, right? Once all goes well tomorrow.